Hi, I'm Marc Masterson, Artistic Director at South Coast Repertory, and I'm here with Kyle Donnelly, and we're going to take a look inside Pride and Prejudice. I'm wondering if you can just tell us what your approach is.
So I was interested in looking at the story through the eyes of a 15-year-old girl. Not to update it and not to change the story, but just to see how she might react to it. So we have a character we call the girl, who is sort of a framing device or a filter for the production, where she is watching and reading the story along with the audience and really seeing it for the first time.
I watched my own daughters fall in love with Jane Austen and read every book that she wrote, and it's fascinating that it's so relevant to them living now.
I think so much of the manners of the Regency are charming to us in a way because everything is held back and people are forced to behave in a certain way, and I think there's something, in a funny way, refreshing about that for us, because everything isn't put out there. But I also think the notion of finding someone who loves you for who you truly are, rather than who you're supposed to be, is always going to be relevant. And I think Darcy and Elizabeth falling in love is very moving and very exciting for especially young women, because they see the possibility of it.
I remember hearing you once say, Mr. Darcy, that your resentment, once created, was implacable. You are very careful, I suppose, as to the resentments you hold dear.
I hope I am.
And you never allow yourself to be blinded by prejudice.
May I ask to what these questions tend?
Merely to the illustration of your character.
So let's talk a little bit about the costumes.
Well, the Bennet girls all have their basic costumes, which are versions of white, but then when they go to a ball, they want to put on something that, makes them feel as if they're somewhere special. And especially the Netherfield ball, they will add headpieces and gloves and shawls and things that give them the opportunity to glam it up, as it were. We combined ideas of Regency period, which is familiar to a lot of people, as far as the women in Empire-style dresses and the men in sort of romantic, sort of Byron-esque clothing. But we also were inspired by modern fashion.
This is a big story. I mean, it's an epic, it's a novel. And I think one of the questions a lot of people have is, how do you put a novel on stage effectively? I know you've got over 30 locations, you've got 21 actors, you've got costume changes and scene changes, and it's very fluid. So what makes it a good piece of theater?
Part of the whole notion of the 15-year-old girl and her point of view is we have a very, very simple stage, and yet it's very complicated because all of the locations and the mood is all set by projections. Some of my favorites, one of them is Lady Catherine de Bourgh, who is this grande dame in this world of the story. She has this wild, exotic, like peacock wallpaper, which I think is pretty great. It's not what you expect in the period, but it actually is period. And then sometimes we go to very abstract places, especially when the world gets very emotional, when it's about what's going on between two people.
I love it. I think it's got scope and visual excitement and beauty and a really fresh approach to a classic.